So you've built a great SaaS product, you're getting meetings with enterprise prospects, you're able to show them the features, benefits, talk about how the solution is going to work for them. And the prospects were just not able to see the value in our solution, and the deal just didn't move forward. You might even go ahead and discount it by 60, 70, 80%, but still the customers don't make that decision. Sounds familiar? Well, let's be honest here. The problem is not with your product or what it can do, but the problem is in how you're pitching your solution. You might be pitching it like a commodity product, whereas it could be solving $1 million challenge and could be potentially worth hundreds and thousands of dollars in revenue for you. In this video today, I am going to share with you the exact framework that I have used over the last 25 years of my career to close large enterprise deals, a framework that will help you create a sense of urgency and also help you articulate the value that your solution delivers. So, without any further delay, let's get right into it. I still remember this lesson taught to me by one of my mentors very early in my career. His words were simple and profound. Gaurav, if you fail to prepare, then be prepared to fail. So, step number one is preparing for your sales pitch in the right way. The minimum three things that you need to have very clearly with you are the discovery notes. What are the key challenges, problems, statistics, the metrics that you have captured during the discovery phase? A neat presentation which outlines the entire solution, the challenges in the right kind of sequence. Don't worry, I am going to share that sequence with you as we proceed. And third, and most important, do your attendee research well. Here it is important that you collaborate with your champion in the prospect organization to ensure that people who are key to making the decision whether to buy your solution or not are present in the pitching session so that the decisions don't get stalled. You are able to put forward your value proposition in front of the right audience. When it comes to your presentation, follow the 7-step methodology that I am sharing with you. Remember, it's the content and the context that matters the most and not how beautifully or elegantly your presentation is designed. It's what you say, it's how you articulate and how you put forward the idea that matters more than simple, beautiful design. At the start of the meeting, set the agenda. Let the clients know what is the flow going to be. Ensure that you are doing the introductions in the right way. You're also getting introduced to people who are key decision makers on their side if you've not met them already. Keep around 35 to 40 minutes for an interactive presentation where you're going to interact with them while taking them through the entire presentation. Do not make it a monologue. Ensure that you leave 10 to 15 minutes towards the end for Q&A and for closing the presentation with the next action steps. Step 1 is to highlight the pains and challenges. In case you're wondering how to conduct a proper discovery session, I have recorded a video detailing the exact step-by-step methodology for conducting discovery calls. You can follow the link and watch it later. Coming back to the point, the first step is to highlight the pains and challenges. What are the pains that the teams, the people, the functions are facing? What are the gaps in the process, the challenges that are not enabling you to move forward or achieve the desired outcomes? And the technology and the capability gaps that are inhibiting their success. The key out here is to connect with them emotionally and use storytelling to create relatability. One thing that has worked well for me is that I typically tend to point out to specific individuals who are present in the room and get them to accept that these pains and challenges exist and that they have been validated. This pain validation is very important because it will play a big role in articulating or getting the point across to the key decision makers that yes, the team has gone through all the effort, they have identified the pains and they have been validated by their own colleagues. And unless we solve these pains, the problem is not going to go away. So ensure that after you have articulated each and every pain, there is acceptance from the user group. One thing to note out here is don't go overboard by writing down 10 different pains. Just focus on the top 3 key challenges, those 3 use cases which are going to make or break the deal. The task at hand is not to enlist or not to show each and every pain, but only the critical ones and the ones that are going to help them make that decision. Step number 2, quantify the impact. Quantify in such a way that you are able to present data and statistics that if this particular challenge is not solved, what will be the impact on people, their experience, on the productivity, on the outcomes, on the performance, and you should be able to show them the impact using time, effort, investment, and the dollar value. Yes, in case they are spending way too much manual time in getting certain tasks done, then a simple formula like these many man hours multiplied by the cost per man hour is what they are potentially suffering from, or that is the impact of not solving this problem purely in monetary terms. So ensure that you are able to articulate this very well. It can also help if you can discuss the key market trends on how others have been able to solve these challenges, where you have seen the impact being reduced by applying your solution. The next step is to show them a desired state. What is the desired state where there is a certain expectation on a delightful experience? Will it simplify things for people, make it simple for them to adopt the solution, be able to execute their work without getting into complications? Will it help them improve their overall productivity performance? When these changes are made, will it help them get better process outcomes in terms of savings of time, cost, improvement in efficiency, and elimination of repeated tasks that can help them go forward and get those outcomes that they desire, outcomes that matter? Out here, you also have to highlight what are the expectations from the technology. Now, going back to the discovery notes, focus on those 1 or 2, maximum 3 use cases which are urgent, which are priority, and I would say which are critical for them to solve. Focus on showing how these technical capabilities and simplicity will help them move forward. Step 4. It's just not enough to show them what the desired state is going to be, but we have to show them what is the path towards that desired state. Detail out the investment required in terms of time commitment, manpower, resources, financial budgets. It's simply not a use case where you're buying a software and it will do everything on its own. There are efforts that will have to be put in by the user groups, by the backend enablers, people in the support ecosystem, to ensure that once they adopt this particular technology, once they adopt your solution, they'll be able to get the desired outcomes. So emphasize how they are going to reach that particular desired state by making the right investment in manpower, resources, investments, and this is where you also offer certain concessions and incentives. Incentives for early adoption. Now, don't start negotiating or drop the price, but start hinting at what could be those elements that will help sweeten the deal. For example, for signing up for a 3-year plan, they could get 3 months of usage free of cost. So instead of 36, you'll get 39 months, so on and so forth. So this is the time to sort of reveal the price, but not go into the depth of it, which is what we are going to do in step number 5. Step number 5 is where we are going to de-risk the deal. Remember, every prospect is looking for certain assurance that once they adopt your solution, they'll be able to overcome their challenges. But not having worked with you in the past still keeps certain doubts in mind. Certain doubts that, hey, will we be able to do this? Is it possible for us? What if this fails? In this case, you can offer certain trial periods. You can emphasize that, hey, we have a strict service level agreement where there are certain uptime, performance guarantees, etc. Establish your trust and credibility by citing references of customers who have invested in your solution and have reaped the benefits. This will also help overcome certain doubts and queries by being able to show them how others have benefited by walking the path with you. You can also highlight certain industry standard certifications, compliances that your solution meets to ensure that they feel secured. Things around information security, data security, your hosting environment, disaster recovery, business continuity, etc. They help a lot in building the credibility. Step 6 is reinforcing the value and creating a sense of urgency. For example, if you are selling solutions to e-commerce, then always remember what are the peak business times, the peak season for them. For example, in India, post Navratri, then Diwali, then Christmas, this is considered as the peak shopping season. So, if your solution is going to help them generate more sales, improve the conversions, etc., then the solution has to be live before the peak season starts. So, you can introduce that sense of urgency that, hey, with our support and assisted services, we'll be able to take you live well before the deadline, well before the season starts, so that you'll be able to reap those benefits. Remember, a compelling event will often help you in creating that sense of urgency and close deals within time. And if you are not meeting those deadlines, if you're not creating that sense of urgency, the deals tend to go into a loop where they will just circle around and not make that decision. So use the upcoming compelling events smartly and emphasize how you can help them achieve the outcomes well in time. Step 7, and often the most critical one, is to ensure that you are able to clearly articulate the next steps. Yes, once you have established the value that using our solution you will be able to achieve the desired outcomes in a certain time period with investment that is in line with your budgets, that is in line with your expectations, what are the next steps towards closure? Don't just pass on the decision to them, but rather take proactive steps in defining, can we conclude this in the next 7 days? Can we conclude this in the next 15 days? Better even is to go ahead and say, what is it that we will need to do to close this in the next 7 days? How do we reach an agreement? What are the agreements to be signed, or the contract documents to be signed? Can we do this over the next 7 days? Who is the person responsible who will be able to help us in closing the deal in this particular stipulated time? Encourage immediate action and set the deadline. Define the date, define the day, define the time period in which these things have to be achieved. And one thing that often helps is reminding them of the pain, challenge, and the urgency to close this in order to achieve the desired outcome. Taking from the earlier ecom example, if you approach them during the peak festival season, then most of the teams are not going to be keen on closing the deal during that time because they're already busy executing some of the largest campaigns for that particular period. So ensure that, hey, if we do this over the next 7-15 days, then we'll be in a position to be prepared for the upcoming season. And in order to get there, we'll have to close deal in the next few days. This will introduce a sense of urgency and ensure that you are walking out with the next steps clearly agreed and accepted by the corresponding teams, by those individuals who are responsible to select you as the right service provider. Their acceptance and agreement is of paramount importance. If there is no acceptance on that approved plan, trust me, the deals will get stalled. This also helps in validating the urgency and evaluating whether the customer, the prospect, is really serious about closing the deal and moving ahead with you as their preferred solution partner. So there you have it, 7 simple steps to help you create the perfect sales pitch, the story flow that will help you close large enterprise deals. Go ahead and use this technique in your upcoming presentations and do share in comments what the results were, how you are able to close large deals by using this framework. Do like and share this with your friends who need it the most, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel.